Earlier this week, people across the world got to see the series finale to How I Met Your Mother, which has been running for 9 years. I have not talked about this show much on this channel because by the time I started doing videos on YouTube, I had already given up on this show. I discovered the show sometime during Season 5, I think, and by the time Season 5 was over, I had already watched the whole series up to that point, and I was ready and willing to watch the rest, until the end of Season 7. For a few different reasons that I'll try to cover later in the video, I was livid when the Season 7 finale ended, to the point where I was willing to stop watching the show that, at that point, I considered my favorite TV series at the time. But much like the series Smallville, another show that I had given up on years before, I decided to return and watch the series finale. Part of this was a study to see just how much sense the show would make in its final moments when I had not watched the show for 2 whole years. But also, like most people I think, I just wanted to know how it ended. I don't think I would be exaggerating if I said that over half of the fan base for the series consisted of people who watched specifically to find out who the mother was and whether the end of the show lived up to 9 years of teasing who this person was. And I have to say, on a number of levels, this show failed in that regard. First and foremost, there's the problem that might not actually be a problem. My big problem when watching the finale is that, yeah, we get to finally meet the mother, and we get to see her interacting with the rest of the gang in a series of flash forwards. More on those later. But we don't actually know anything about this woman. Now, like I said, this might not be a problem. I had not watched any of this season or the last season, and from the context clues provided in this episode, it seems that the mother did meet all of the gang before she met Ted. So it's possible that in those episodes we learn everything about her, but that's not good enough. This show spent 8 years setting up this big reveal. All the while, there was this implicit promise that the reveal was going to be worth the wait. Oh, you're tired of us constantly dragging our feet and making entire seasons that seem pointless and just exist to kill time? Don't worry, the ending will totally be worth it. So even if we get 2 or 3 episodes in Season 9 that tell us some of the stuff about the mother, I still don't buy that it's enough. Her name is a punchline to the episode, for crying out loud. If we didn't know her name, then I have to assume that we didn't know much of anything else about her before this episode. And that's a huge problem with this show that many people, myself included, have had for years. For quite some time, it's been evident that the show would end with Ted meeting the mother. But the problem is, when you spend almost a decade telling the kids and the audience that every woman Ted slept with or dated in that time was not right for one minor reason or another, we have come to build up this mythic mother in our heads. She has to be the perfect woman if Ted actually ends up with her, right? But she's not, because we don't know anything about her. We never ever get a chance to get to know the mother. And sure, people who love the series are going to say that the show is called How I Met Your Mother, and that means the show cannot keep going after they meet. Well, horse crap to that, because even though Ted does meet the mother in the last episode, Ted's story that he is telling to his kids keeps going for another 10 years. There is absolutely no reason that this show could not have introduced the mother in Season 6 or 7 and then played it kinda like they did Ted's relationship with Zoe. First she hates Ted, and then over the course of a few years, they grow to love each other. Absolutely no reason that they could have not done something like that. Because even though the show does imply that it will be over once he meets the mom, when you spend this much time suggesting that the mom is some kind of superwoman, then the fans are going to feel cheated if you do not pay off that build-up somehow. And this show does not pay it off. Because, huge spoiler here, the show kills her off in the distant year of 2024, and I could not find a single ounce of "aw, how sad" in my entire body. Why? Because I have no idea who this woman is. We get all of these mini moments spread out in between the present day and the future when Ted is telling the story, and we get to see Mystery Mom interacting with the gang, but it doesn't matter because we still know absolutely nothing about this woman. It's like when you start reading The Watchmen, and the book opens with a dead body. We do not care at all that this dude died because we know nothing about him. But the difference is, The Watchmen actually tells us stuff about the comedian after we find out he died. After How I Met Your Mother was done, I still don't know jack crap about the mother or why I should care that she died. And then there's the other thing that I hated about the finale, and it's actually also what made me drop the show at the end of Season 7. The whole who will Robin end up with thing. What a load of garbage. Now I should preface all of the following with a statement. I was never a shipper of any couple in this show. I'm not saying that I never cared about the characters or their romances, but I was never rooting for Ted and Robin to get together, or for Robin and Barney. Especially Robin and Ted, though. You know why? Because as far back as episode 1, when future Ted tells the kids that that's how he met their Aunt Robin, the people who are watching this show to find out who the mother is, those people automatically cross Robin off the list. Okay, she's Aunt Robin, so she's not the one that Ted ends up with. This entire series has been nothing but one gigantic middle finger to the fans, because the show was apparently never supposed to be about Ted's journey to becoming the person that he was when he met the mother. Then why did I watch this mess for the last 7 years? Probably the single biggest thing that separated this show from more traditional sitcoms was the concept of someone from the future telling the story, and he already knows the ending, and he's telling the audience little hints about how it ends, and so the audience, at least the ones who are really invested in the mystery, they are taking every moment that Ted speaks and analyzing it with a microscope to try and find out who the mother is going to be. But it was all a big waste of time, because apparently the show was never interested in the mother. You know, the conceit of the entire series. Maybe I should explain for those of you who did not watch the finale. Basically, Ted meets his mother in the present day, and then we get the aforementioned flash forwards leading all the way up to 2024 when the mother dies. And then we finally catch up to 2030 when Ted is telling the story to the kids. And then apparently this whole story was just future Ted asking his kids for permission to bang Aunt Robin. Are you kidding me? And this is really where people are divided on the show. I've talked to people who loved the finale, and I've talked to many more people who hated it. And I think, for me anyway, the reason that I hated it was exactly because I was never a Ted-Robin shipper. When this show outright told us that Robin was Aunt Robin, I just threw out any thoughts that these two could possibly get together. Sure, they made an okay couple, I guess, but never more so than Ted and any of his other girlfriends. I think, really, you can divide up the people who watch this show into two camps. Those who wanted Ted to end up with Robin, even though it flew against 9 years of television telling us that that would not happen, and those of us who wanted a satisfying resolution to the story of the mother, which we did not get. And really, that's what it all boils down to. I cannot think of any other way to put into words why I hated this finale, and if I'm being honest, the whole show retroactively. Sure, there were some astoundingly funny moments in this series, and for a long while, the attention to detail was impressive enough to make me consider this to be one of the best shows ever. But somewhere along the line, the people behind this show tripped in their execution of this whole debacle. Maybe it was planned from the beginning, and they always planned for the story of the mother to be a middle finger to the people who actually cared about that sort of thing. And you know what? Maybe I'm not being fair. In a lot of ways, this show is similar to Lost. And Lost also had two camps of people. You had the camps of people who cared about the characters and the people who cared about the mysteries. But Lost made the same mistake that How I Met Your Mother did, where they claimed that the show was about the characters, but then they'd go and spend entire episodes explaining the mysteries that they had carelessly set up, all the while setting up even more confusing mysteries. And by the end, you had people who were upset that the mysteries weren't solved to their satisfaction. And then you also had people like me who were angry that if the show was supposed to be about the characters, then they failed there too. So let's look at this from that perspective. Let's assume that when you're watching this show, the mystery of the mother, or the entire series arc with all of the little clues, let's assume that's not the important thing, and let's assume that it's all supposed to be about the characters. Does this show's ending hold up then? Heck no. I stopped watching this show when we were told that Robin was going to marry Barney. This after Barney had one of his best moments of character development when he told Ted that after telling Robin he loved her twice and being rejected both times, he was done pursuing that relationship. Okay, cool, way to go Barney, acting like the mature one. Oh wait, no, he gets with her in the future? Well, I wash my hands of this show. And then, oh no, wait, they get divorced after only being married for 3 years? Are you trying to slap everyone in the face? You've been building up this Barney marries Robin subplot very slowly since the beginning of season 6. That's 4 years that you've been building this, and now they just get divorced in the very same episode that they get married in? And then we find out that Ted really just settled for the mythical mother figure. He claims that he never stopped loving the kid's mom, but the thing about love is that you cannot shut it off. From where I'm standing, he never stopped loving Robin. Even while his baby mama was giving birth, even while he was marrying her, even while she was on her deathbed, he still wanted to give it to Robin Scherbatsky. And so this entire show is just Ted asking his kids for permission to date their aunt. This after what, 2 times that Ted dated Robin during the show's run? I guess they dated once, and then Ted was allegedly over her, and then he told her that he loved her, but she didn't want to hear none of that. Why should I care that Ted wants to give it another shot? This is just like Friends with Ross and Rachel. These two have had their ups and downs so often, there's no reason that I should believe that these two will actually make it work this time. This show effectively manages to make everyone mad except for a very small group of people. You have the people who wanted Barney and Robin to get together, they're mad. You have the people who didn't want those two to end up together, they're also mad because so much time was wasted on that sinking ship anyway. And then you have the people who wanted something actually satisfying with the mother. The only people who actually win in this scenario are fans of the Ted Robin fiasco, and I cannot imagine that many people were actually fans of that coupling, not compared to all of the other people who got burned with this finale. I could probably talk for another hour about this show, but I don't want to spend any more time on a show that does not deserve the attention. This show had the potential to be one of the greats, but they really screwed things up. And in retrospect, it looks like it wasn't even an accidental screw-up. They intentionally did this, which makes things all the more maddening. So that's all I had to say. What do you guys think? Did you like this show? Dislike it? Did you like the finale, or did you think it was crap? Am I just overreacting? Let me know what you guys thought in the comments below. And if you liked my ranting in this video, be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And come back tomorrow for a much more cool-headed video where I will talk about something else. Until then, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great day.